Are we live? Are we live? Welcome to a fabulous rendition of Just My Opinion podcast. It's official. Your boy is live on my sports channel. How y'all living? I'm living swell. Rate, comment, subscribe. Hit the subscription button, the notification bell. Share this lovely live stream with your friends, family, and followers. Let's get this podcast lit in the YouTube algorithm by hitting the like button, by commenting in the comment section. The comment section is your guys' domain, as well as sharing it. All right, sharing is caring. All right, season 2, episode 21. Yes, I know I haven't done a lot of live streams on my sports channel. I've been cranking them up, heating them up on my other YouTube channels. Most notably, I'm Krista Don 1. Be on the lookout for a live stream of Too Early for This podcast. It always goes down and lit, live and in color, in full effect, Saturday mornings around 4 to 5 a.m. Be there or be square. If you're unable to catch the live, you can always watch the re-air of it. And if you want to become a stream sponsor, okay, all you have to do is hit the Cash App, $. I'm Chris Down 1. I will type your name below the live stream, and you will be the official sponsor of that particular live stream. I might transition that to my sports channel, even though I don't necessarily do a lot of live streams on my sports channel, Just My Opinion podcast. If you want to become a member to either Just My Opinion podcast or I'm Chris Down 1 podcast, hit the join membership button. Remember, membership has its privileges. All right, got all the finalities out of the way. Let's begin today's talk. And I've been making multiple videos discussing this, and we all know that Shannon Sharpe left Fox Sports 1 Undisputed. He left Skip Bayless. A lot of people are speculating, particularly on social media, talking about their relationship has, pretty much their relationship has gone stale, pretty much non-existent. And the relationship I'm referring to is Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. They had some heated moments towards the end of that of that show, Undisputed, and it really started to come a boil, and you knew that this was going to end very quickly. I know social media, everyone they're putting their own little ad libs in it. Everyone is putting salt in a in a bowl of tomato soup. Eventually, the soup is going to get salty. So a lot of people are talking about, the reason why Shannon Sharpe left because he didn't like Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless ran Shannon Sharpe off of Undisputed and Fox Sports 1. If all of that was simple and if all of that was true, I told you guys from the beginning, this was a bag issue, not an emotional issue, not a, he's not my friend issue. I always thought that this was a money issue, particularly when Skip Bayless first went to Fox Sports 1 many moons ago. Fox Sports 1 offered him a bag, offered him control, offered him the universe, the sun, the stars, the moon to transition from ESPN to Fox Sports 1. And he did that, and he got a bag because of that, plus the perks of doing that. And when that old regime that purged Skip Bayless from ESPN is no longer there, In comes the new regime. The new regime, still like Skip Bayless. And Skip Bayless got another bag, plus even more perks, okay? Skip Bayless' star is rising with Fox Sports 1. With the executives, the powers that be over there at Fox Sports 1. Now, I know people on social media has a disdain for Skip Bayless. Yeah, I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that says that Shannon Sharpe is a bigger star than Skip Bayless. Yes, I know Shannon Sharpe on social media is king, and Skip Bayless can't even get a fracture of how popular Shannon Sharpe was on social media. Yes, I know Shannon Sharpe has that hit podcast Club Shay Shay and is doing record numbers, gathering subscribers from near and far. And then when Skip Bayless became a content creator on YouTube, he's struggling. He's like in the middle, close to the end of the pack, trying to catch up. All right. I know all that. I get it. And you are 1,000% right. I'm right with you as well. However, when you throw all that to the side, none of that stuff translates to getting a bag at Fox Sports 1. Now, Shannon Sharpe and his agency has already stipulated this on numerous articles. Shannon Sharpe has referenced it on a number of podcasts that he feels like he has done enough, and I do believe he has done enough to be in that A tier. What do I mean by the A tier? The highest of the high of the A tier. Stephen A. Smith is in that A tier. Colin Cowherd is on that A tier. Skip Bayless is on that A tier. Most recently, Pat McAfee is in that A tier. Maybe Shannon Sharpe in free agency when he decides to go to ESPN. We're going to talk about that as well. He too will be in that A tier. Maybe. But Shannon Sharpe, when he was with Fox Sports 1, he always alluded this, and even his agency alluded this, that Shannon Sharpe has done enough that he's a bigger star on social media, a star in sports entertainment. They feel like Shannon Sharpe should be in that A tier with the guys I just mentioned. All right? Stop the presses. The executives, the powers that be, felt like, no, fam. Shannon Sharpe is not, we're not going to give Shannon Sharpe that type of money. And it had nothing to do with them having favoritism over Skip Bayless, having more favoritism over Skip Bayless than Shannon Sharpe. It has nothing to do with, they feel like Skip Bayless is a bigger star than Shannon Sharpe. They, Fox Sports 1, ESPN, CNN, or CNC. I don't know why I said CNC. But all of these cable and satellite networks, they make their money through ads and commercials. And the only way you're going to get the best ads and the only way you're going to get the best commercials, the only way your show is going to be in the prime time hours is ratings. Ratings tops everything. And the powers that be feel like giving Skip Bayless a bag, he deserves to get that type of money because he draws that command. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Undisputed would be nothing without Shannon Sharpe. Okay, everyone's always focusing on one side. Well, Skip Bayless would never be popular on his own doing his own thing on his own show if it wasn't for Shannon Sharpe. I hate to ask a question with a question. My mom always told me, son, never answer a question with a question. But let me ask you, would Shannon Sharpe would be as popular as he is now without the blessing of Skip Bayless? Because Shannon Sharpe, like it or not, love it or hate it, back in the day, Shannon Sharpe was very popular, very successful on CBS Sports, particularly when they did the NFL Today on CBS Sports. Now, Shannon Sharpe allegedly found himself in a sticky situation, due to some accusations, and CBS let him go. And when CBS let him go, Shannon Sharpe was just sitting on the woodpile. Yeah, he would, get some gigs with the NFL Network. He'll get some gigs with NBC. He'll get some gigs with Fox Sports. He'll get some gigs with ESPN. And that's where Skip Bayless saw the potential in Shannon Sharpe. When Shannon Sharpe would fill in for Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. Smith go on his hiatus and vacations and things of that nature, Skip Bayless saw the potential in Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe was doing Twitch many years back. That's how bad it got for Shannon Sharpe. When Skip Bayless was purged away from ESPN and went to Fox Sports 1, Stephen A. Smith wanted to include Shannon Sharpe as his debate partner at Undisputed. Now, the old regime felt like Skip Bayless, they didn't mind paying Skip Bayless the money. They didn't mind giving Skip Bayless all the perks, giving him influence and control and things of that nature. But they felt like Skip Bayless would be better if he was debating someone in his field, in a journalistic field, and in the media field. They didn't think pairing him up with an ex-athlete would be that successful. Skip Bayless believed in Shannon Sharpe because of his work with Shannon Sharpe over there at the Worldwide Leader of Sports. He developed chemistry in the studio with Shannon Sharpe. He saw a lot of potential in Shannon Sharpe. Skip Bayless was riding. He was riding and dying on Shannon Sharpe. He said, no. I found my debate partner. This is the guy I want. Fox Sports 1 had to commit to whatever blessings that Skip Bayless wanted. And that's how it began. That's how that tandem began when they did Undisputed. And like they say, the rest was history. Now, Fox Sports 1 has been very decently successful. Undisputed, out of all the shows that come off of that Fox Sports 1, Undisputed is their baby. It's the icon. It's the most popular heavy demand show on Fox Sports 1. However, as great as Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe was on that show for 7 years, they never once stole. Well, one time and that was their first show, but ever since then, they never took the ratings from ESPN and First Take. First Take continued to dominate. Undisputed was a distant second. Okay, nothing wrong with second, but when there's really only two shows, I mean, if you're not first, you're last. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're the second best show or the fifth best show. What's the difference between the second best show and the fifth best show? They're still behind the best show, which is First Take at that time. Okay, and we're going to talk later on how the future, the recent changes of Undisputed may impact ESPN and First Take. Okay, we'll get into that a little bit later. All right. So, Shannon Sharpe. The rest they say was history. Undisputed was successful, but it was still the second best show on satellite and cable. And I've stated this on I'm Chris Down 1. You can go check out that video there. I have also stated it on this channel that there was no way Fox Sports 1 and Undisputed was ever going to steal ESPN and First Take. Because I kept telling people then, what I'm going to tell you right now, ESPN is in more households than Fox Sports 1. Okay? 70, since the beginning, since the first year of Undisputed to the last year of Undisputed, ESPN was in more households. Therefore, it would have been nearly impossible for them to overtake the lead because ESPN was in more households with satellite and cable. All right? At their best, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe, they could never steal the thunder with shoot. Man, I'm losing my thunder. Okay. So what Stephen A. Smith was doing. Okay. But, like I said, the rest was history. Okay. Now, year 7, there was a lot of turmoil with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. They didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And I really do feel like one of the reasons why they didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things was the consistent push to talk about only Skip Bayless's topics. Remember, I said earlier in this live stream, when Fox Sports 1 stole Skip Bayless from ESPN, not only they gave him the bag, they gave him the sun, the moon, the stars, power over attorney when it comes to who's going to be on Undisputed, who's not going to be on Undisputed. Skip Bayless wielded his power many times on Undisputed. Okay? It was, let's face facts and face reality, Undisputed was Skip Bayless' show. Now, I know Shannon Sharpe and I know Shannon Sharpe and all the other moderators thought that they were partners. Shannon Sharpe alluded to on many times, we're partners on this show. We're 50-50. I have say-so in control of the show. But in legal papers and what the powers that be, they given all the power of authority and the power and the influence to Skip Bayless to do whatever he wants to do on his show, Undisputed. Now, maybe, and like I said, maybe Skip Bayless pulled Shannon Sharpe to the side and say, look, even though this is my show, you do have say so. You do have power and you could do whatever. Or maybe Shannon Sharpe believed in the lie that he was telling himself. And you can tell during a lot of years, Shannon Sharpe would he would be an habitual line stepper. All right. He would add it was okay with a few skits here and there, but then he started to be, I think Skip Bayless grew very weary and tired of all the shenanigans, all the skits. At first it was little small things here and there, like the gold mask and things of that nature. But when he started bringing alcohol and mixing alcohol and bringing TikTok into the fold and social media into the fold, you have to face facts, face reality. Skip Bayless is 70 years old. All right, Skip Bayless, even though Skip Bayless has Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff, he really Only time he really uses Twitter is when he's watching a game, pretty much. And every now and again, saying something here or there on Twitter. But other than that, he doesn't go into Twitter reading everyone's mentions or reading everyone's comments. I don't think Skip Bayless has a TikTok. He don't understand the language of TikTok or the power of Twitch and YouTube. How you can make more money on Twitch and YouTube than you can with these networks. Skip Bayless is old-fashioned and he's traditional. So Skip Bayless is never, if he ever leaves Fox Sports 1, he's never gonna do Twitch. He's never gonna do Rumble. He just or go to YouTube full time because he's not in those eras. All right. He's just old fashioned. He truly believes in network shows, network, satellite and cable network type of shows. All right. So, okay. So, that's that. All righty, give me a second here. Are we live? Are we live? I do apologize. I do apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Ran into a little technical difficulties. Seems like my laptop overheated, but nevertheless, I'm the best. Let's get into it. All right. So where was I? Okay, the relationship with Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. So I'm pretty it at first, Skip Bayless was tolerating it. At first, Skip Bayless was being playful and committing to certain things that he wasn't obligated to. Uh, you know, contractually and things of that nature, and basically, massaging the ego of Shannon Sharpe. I think over the course of time, Shannon Sharpe got a little irritated by it. That Skip Bayless wields all of this power, all of this control on Undisputed. He wanted some say so, and he grew kind of tired of the same old discussions and talk, even though he was very passionate about the discussions and talk. But basically, Skip Bayless, the only three topics Skip Bayless would talk about consistently every day of every week was LeBron James, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, let's talk about those three topics. Shannon Sharpe, I think privately, if you put Shannon Sharpe in a room, he would pick Michael Jordan over LeBron James. But I thought, and you could tell the real reason why he was pulling for LeBron James is not the fact that he wanted to rub elbows with LeBron James and want to be in LeBron James' circle so bad. I just think one of the starting reasons was it just seems like Skip Bayless would be so passionately in love with Michael Jordan, like Michael Jordan couldn't do any wrong. I still feel like Michael Jordan is the GOAT, the original GOAT. Now, if y'all want to add other GOATs, that's fine, whatever. But I still feel like Michael Jordan is the GOAT over LeBron James. If there was only one GOAT, if it was only one head on Mount Rushmore, I would choose Michael Jeffrey Jordan, over LeBron James. That's just my humble opinion. And I feel like Shannon Sharpe feels the same way, but I felt like Shannon Sharpe grew kind of weary and tired of, Skip Bayless throwing it in everybody's face. He was this blind passion that he had for Michael Jordan. So basically, Shannon Sharpe, stuck it to the man, so to say, and he just picked LeBron James because of that fact. Now, there was other factors that played into it, but I think that was the main factor. As far as the Dallas Cowboys go, I'm a huge Dallas Cowboy fan, but I'm an objective Dallas Cowboy fan. I don't think Skip Bayless is a objective type of Dallas Cowboy fan. I think Skip Bayless is blind to the fact that no matter, and he pays so much attention to the headlines of who the Dallas Cowboys drafted, of who the Dallas Cowboys signed in free agency, and he just put those two factors in and say, well, we're going to the Super Bowl. I didn't go that far with the Dallas Cowboys with all their draft picks and the people that they signed. I thought there was going to be a good team, but I never thought the Dallas Cowboys, even with Dak Prescott, was going to make a deep run in the playoffs and possibly be a Super Bowl winning team. I think they drafted well and they got the right players, but they were like an above average football team. Let's just be fair. There was one time in Dak Prescott tenure. Hold on one second. Oh my God. Oh, it is on Do Not Disturb. Okay. I just thought that was kind of weird. Okay, so I felt like there was one time in Dak Prescott's career as the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, I thought that they could have went to the Super Bowl. All right. They had enough pieces. All right. With Zeke and I forgot the receiver that they traded to the Browns. I forgot his name. I thought that, they had enough. All right. But that's neither here nor there. But every year it just seems like Skip Bayless put the Dallas Cowboys on this pedestal that, they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. And I felt like over the years, Shannon Sharpe would get, couldn't tolerate it no more. It's like you're just throwing away facts and stats all because of your passion, because you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. So that's why I always felt like, and I also felt like Shannon Sharpe knew was merely looking at the X's and O's, not the Bobbies and Joes. All right. And just like me, he's saying, look, if you look at the X's and O's, I just don't see this team going that far. And I thought he was fair with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, he made jokes about the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, that's true. But I felt like he was more objective to the Dallas Cowboys than Skip Bayless. And Tom Brady, you could tell it irritates him to see Tom Brady still play in the National Football League, particularly when he said that Tom Brady was going to fall off. He was going to go on this cliff, just like Max Kellerman did over there at ESPN. He felt like Tom. It was just like every year Tom Brady. He ain't the same. He's not producing this, that, and the third. And this final year, he was proven right. But how many times Shannon Sharpe has said that in Tom Brady's career that he was wrong? I mean, he was saying that even at the last year of Tom Brady with the New England Patriots. He's been saying it that long. So, he got egg on his face a couple of years, and I feel like Tom Brady's last year, he got his payback. But then I felt like, Shannon Sharpe wanted a pat on his back, saying, "I told you Tom Brady was going to fall off. I told you Tom Brady was going to not produce." But you've been saying that for the past 5 or 6 years. Okay, you keep saying this. It's just like living in Arizona. Keep saying that it's going to rain. It's going to rain. It's going to rain year after year after year after year, and then it finally rains. Now all of a sudden you want a pat on the back and say you was right all along. Well, it seems like people can't see the forest from the trees, and they want a pat on the back when they've been saying for years that this was going to happen and it never happened. Now it happened. Now you want a pat on your back. Okay. So, but anyway, I felt like Shannon Sharpe grew very tiresome of Skip Bayless always talking about Tom Brady, how great Tom Brady is, and this, that, and the third. And that was another thing that stuck to Shannon Sharpe's claw and in his nerves. And I can understand you're talking about this once a year, but when they go into these discussions, I felt like Undisputed was getting kind of stale. And I felt like that was one of the reasons why they was never going to overtake First Take, or Fox Sports 1 was going to overtake ESPN. Well, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, about the recent article about Fox Sports 1 and ESPN. And anyway, so so Shannon Sharpe made a comment on the show like yo, like, just because it's popular to you, Skip Bayless, it's not popular to the masses. And basically, low-key, he was saying, like, yo, I want to talk about other things other than these 3 topics. And you heard it on live TV. Skip Bayless says, well, come in when we're when we're discussing these topics, and come up with your own topics. Skip Bayless was willing to allow Shannon Sharpe, if you want to come in early in the meetings, and let's talk about what you want to talk about, instead of bringing up stuff that you want to talk about like 30 minutes or an hour before we go on air. Skip Bayless, and I worked with people like this before, older people like this before. They fall on a schedule, and there's certain things that's acceptable as long as it's fall into if it's fall right into schedule. And Skip Bayless, and maybe this is old age or maybe it's because it's ego, I don't know. But Skip Bayless comes off as a person to me that if he doesn't mind you sharing your thoughts and your opinions or trying to make the show better, but if you want to have those conversations and talks, then come in at a time where we can have those discussions and talk. Don't just come in whenever you want to come in and want to all of a sudden change the show and want to change the topics and things of that nature. So it's like if you wanted those changes, you had to commit to how you can make those changes. And I felt like it was a generational gap thing. Skip Bayless um is used to a system where we're gonna allot certain times for certain things. And Shannon Sharpe is coming from a generation where I want it now. Like, hey, it doesn't matter if I come in 3 hours early or if I come in 30 minutes before the show starts. This is what I want to talk about. And I felt like you could tell there was tension between the two because, Skip Bayless is in his 70s and I think Shannon Sharpe is in his 50s. But, Shannon Sharpe mind is fluent. It's a younger mind. Shannon Sharpe is into the social media more heavy than Skip Bayless. Shannon Sharpe knows what's trending and what people want to talk about on social media than Skip Bayless. And that's where you had a disconnect between the two. Okay. So that's where I felt like Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless had their issues. And it's a generational thing, and it's what yeah, and I think that's one of the things why they're no longer together. Another thing why they're no longer together, and it goes back to business 101, is when Skip Bayless got his first bag at Fox Sports 1, even though he pushed hard for Shannon Sharpe. Um, and but the second time Skip Bayless was able to get a bag, Skip Bayless didn't put any parameters of Fox Sports 1 saying that, hey, if you want me, if you want me to come back to Fox Sports 1, you got to give Shannon Sharpe, you got to take care of my boy Shannon Sharpe. If I get a bag, Shannon Sharpe gets a bag. And that can easily be explained. I feel like a lot of older people only worry about themselves, or a lot of older people just don't get into other folks' business. And Skip Bates is looking at it as, okay, Shannon Sharpe is a big boy. He knows his worth. He knows he got his own agent. He doesn't necessarily need me to campaign for him to get a bag at Fox Sports 1. It could perceive that way. And I felt like there was tension once Skip Bayless got his second bag at Fox Sports 1. You started to see things peeled away from their dynamic, from their relationship. And a lot of people said this. Shannon Sharpe admitted to it. Skip Bayless admitted to it. They have a great relationship in the studio, but outside of that, they don't really have much of a relationship. It's not like Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, where they had a great relationship in the studio, but when they left the studio, they had even a greater relationship away from the studio. It wasn't necessarily like that with Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. Okay, even though they had great chemistry on the set, once the camera stopped rolling, they go their separate ways. Skip Bayless does his thing. Shannon Sharpe does his thing. And that's that. Okay. I feel like that's another layer of why these two no longer work together. I about to say go together, work together. All right. And that's why their relationship fizzled. And Skip, Shannon Sharpe, now, I feel like, there was some incidents, there was some episodes like the Daryl Ham incident where Shannon Sharpe didn't come to the show. He was protesting because of recent comments Skip Bayless tweeted. And I don't know what the executives at Fox Sports 1 told Shannon Sharpe, but I have been in a lot of those rooms where your employer is just saying things that, and this goes in any walk of life, okay? There are two types of people in the world. People that you tell people what they need to know. And when you tell people what they need to know, it only elevates them. Or it only elevates them. And a second group of people is you tell them what they like to hear. And I feel like Shannon Sharpe has demonstrated that he's the type of person that you tell him what he likes to hear. He likes to hear that he's doing great all the time. He likes to hear that he's a valuable member. He likes to hear his credit when credit is due. He likes that stuff. But I don't think Shannon Sharpe is the type of person you need to tell him what he needs to know. What you need to just tell him, okay, good, bad, or whatever. And I don't think Shannon Sharpe is that type of person. I just think he's the type of person that you have to tell him what he likes to hear. And I feel like the executives over there at Fox Sports 1 was trying to massage his ego and maybe told him some things that was not true just to get him to come to work. And maybe they said that they told him they did talk to Skip Bayless, and they probably talked to Skip Bayless but they probably convey it to Shannon Sharpe as we talked to Skip Bayless about the tweet, and Skip Bayless is deeply remorsed about it, and he apologized to us and he explained it to us and this, that, and the third. I think what the executive should have done was told Shannon Sharpe, sat him down and say, hey, look, we talked to Skip Bayless, but at the end of the day, this is Fox Sports 1. This is the reason why you guys come to this network, because you're allowed to say what you want to say. Okay? Which that is going to change dramatic. We'll talk about that later on. All right? So, I'm pretty sure the executive was just saying anything to get Shannon Sharpe back on the next show, which he did. So Shannon Sharpe was going to go on this monologue and explain himself, but it's okay to explain yourself. But he was also trying to, trying to also not explain Skip Bayless, but say some things that was in a private setting that was really meant for the ears of Shannon Sharpe and the executives, and just kept that private. But when he unleashed some private information, you started seeing Skip Bayless' ears go up, and you started seeing him interrupt him. And that's, I feel like, Shannon Sharpe's getting mad because he can't finish his monologue, and Skip Bayless is getting mad at him, going like, wait a minute, they didn't tell me that. They didn't say that. You don't know what they told me. So, once again, there are people in the world that you tell them what they need to know, and then there's people in the world that you have to tell them what they like to hear. And I felt like the executives over there was placating to both of them. And that's why I feel like the network, Fox Sports 1, fumbled the bag with those two. But, the end was already coming, because when Shannon Sharpe tried to negotiate his contract around this time last year, and they spent almost a full year at the negotiating table trying to figure out, because, like I said earlier in this presentation, Shannon Sharpe and his agency thought that, okay, Shannon Sharpe has done a lot and did a lot. So it's time for you guys to drop a bag for Shannon Sharpe. We're not going to spend another year or another 3 or 4 years proving ourselves. We need to strike while the iron is at its hottest, at its brightest. Okay? All right? So, that, and I felt like that was that. So, they negotiated, and they couldn't reach, I felt like, and it's pretty much documented, that Fox Sports 1 was lowballing Shannon Sharpe, and Shannon Sharpe and his agent was saying, no, we think he deserves this much. And we're going to show you, because if he walks, he's going to get that much. Now, so Shannon Sharpe went his merry way. He left. I don't know why, man. This is hot over here. So Shannon Sharpe went on his merry way. He did what he had to do, and said, you know what? Let's just buy ourselves out of this situation and show Fox Sports 1 that there's an audience out there that's willing to give us the money that we deserve. Okay? So you've been hearing Shannon Sharpe for quite some time now, and teasing that he's going to make his premiere back on television. And he pretty much teasing that the decision has already been made, and we're in discussion. We already done had discussions, and everything, the ink is dry, but we're not going to talk about this. But we'll talk about this at a later date, with tweets and videos and things of that nature. Just, teasing us that he has some important big news. And we talked about this on a video as well as a live stream of the possible places Shannon Sharpe can go to. Shannon Sharpe can go to Amazon. Amazon can give him a bag plus more. Shannon Sharpe can have exclusive content exclusively for Apple. Apple can throw that type of money in that type of bag. Okay, he can go to ESPN. ESPN he can get a bag with ESPN. He can get a bag with FanDuel. Okay, he can go independent, get his bag there, get his money there as well. And then you got the others. You got NBC. NBC Sports is desperately trying to get a footing in sports entertainment. Okay, they have already signed some personalities from ESPN and all walks of life, and they're trying to, make it work. All right. So you got that dynamic. There's possibility of Shannon Sharpe going back to CBS Sports. That was the talk. Everyone was talking about how Shannon Sharpe could possibly make a return to CBS Sports. Okay. So you had all of these different places, and word around the campfire is that he's going to sign with ESPN. And word around the street is Shannon Sharpe is going to be a contributor to First Take, not a full-time debate partner that's going to debate Stephen A. Smith 5 days a week, but a contributor. And when I saw this could mean to many possible avenues for Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe can get the bag at ESPN, okay? Be a contributor to First Take. Also have his own show on ESPN. Maybe have a show on ESPN Plus because they're trying to make ESPN Plus better. We're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. And possibly his show will be featured on ESPN Plus Radio. ESPN Radio. Maybe Club Shay Shay. Club Shay Shay is going to be originally for ESPN podcasts. So there are a lot of opportunities where you can see Shannon Sharpe twice. Well, see or hear from Shannon Sharpe twice or 3 times a day, which would make Shannon Sharpe star be even brighter. Okay. But as of right now, the word around the campfire is he's going to, Stephen A. Smith is advocating for him to come to ESPN. ESPN should sign Shannon Sharpe. And these are the possible places and possible things that ESPN is going to do with Shannon Sharpe. I feel like it's a 2-team race between FanDuel and ESPN. All right. That's, Shannon Sharpe, great for him. But does this equal to a bag? Depends on how that contract is written up or whatever. But I don't think Shannon Sharpe is going to take less going to ESPN. He's not going to leave Fox Sports 1. He was making money at Fox Sports 1, but he wasn't getting that A-tier bag type of money. You're not going to leave Fox Sports 1 just to go to ESPN and make less money. You don't hustle backwards. Shannon Sharpe says that all the time. Never hustle backwards. I feel like Shannon Sharpe's going to ESPN. They're going to give him that A-tier money, and he's going to be up there with Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, Pat McAfee, and now Shannon Sharpe. But if they give him that A-tier type of money, they're going to utilize him, okay? They're going to exploit him, okay? So they're going to have him on First Take. They're going to have him on his own show on television. They're going to have that show on a bonus coverage or maybe another show for ESPN Plus, and they're going to have Club Shay Shay on ESPN podcast and his live show on ESPN. They're going to play it on ESPN Radio. I mean, if they're going to give him that bag, they're going to utilize that bag, and that's going to be one hell of a matchup. When you got Pat McAfee, Stephen A. Smith, and Shannon Sharpe, that's something that Fox Sports 1 is not going to be able to match. Okay? We're going to talk about all this later on. So, it seems like Shannon Sharpe's future is at its apex, is at its brightest. ESPN could do no wrong. Great news for Shannon Sharpe. Great news for Stephen A. Smith. Great news for ESPN. And everyone was speculating, well, why haven't we heard anything from Skip Bayless and Fox Sports 1 or Undisputed? And they let all that news die down, that rumor die down. And then Skip Bayless took to his own show. And there's been several articles that have been, and these are more factual than the Shannon Sharpe storylines and possibilities. But let's first and foremost, it seems like Skip Bayless is going to go back to the cold pizza days where every day he debates a different personality. I think that'd be great for Skip Bayless. That's even greater for the people that's going to debate against Skip Bayless. And different people mean different types of flavor, meaning different types of thoughts and opinions. Lil Wayne has already committed to Skip Bayless that he will do one segment every week. Skip Bayless has confirmed this. Lil Wayne has confirmed this. We just found out a couple of hours ago, and we talked about it in the rumor mill when they were speculating this, but now it's official. Richard Seymour is going to be debating Skip Bayless. Between 50 to 100 shows, and it's really during football season. So that's another dynamic that's already penciled in that Skip Bayless is going to debate on his new lineup of Undisputed. Undisputed is also going to premiere on the first week of football season. That's great as well. Keyshawn Johnson is in talks of signing a contract with Fox Sports 1, and they're going to utilize Keyshawn Johnson on Undisputed. So you already see the blueprint, and it seems like Skip Bayless is going to utilize his old blueprint that he did with Cold Pizza. Stephen A. Smith stole that blueprint when he got rid of Max Kellerman. He took that blueprint and made it good for him, where he has a different personality debating him every day. And Skip Bayless is saying, wait a minute, I originated that, so let me use what was working back in the day for me and apply it for me today. So, and still, there's, Jalen Rose is available. I told you there might be a possibility where you see Jalen Rose signed to Fox Sports 1. Max Kellerman is a possibility. And there's talk that Max Kellerman is in discussion. This is rumors and speculations. I can't confirm nor deny that Max Kellerman is in talk with Fox Sports 1. But you see what they're doing. Instead of having just two guys debate each other every day, 5 days a week, let's just have different types of personalities, different type of perspectives, different type of flavors, just different types of opinions. All right. And if you look at the ratings at First Take, ever since they put Max Kellerman to the side, and now Stephen A. Smith just debate a different personality, which it doesn't matter if it's Michael Irvin, Tim Tebow, Irvin Magic Johnson, J.J. Redick, Jay Williams, Kenneth Perkins. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Skip Bayless looking at that is like, look, I originated that in Cold Pizza. Stephen A. Smith stole that from me. Now I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it to my own detriment and benefit. Okay? So you got that possibility. And then like I said, you got all these other personalities, as possible replacements. To be on the new lineup of Fox Sports 1. And I said in the video a couple of weeks ago, and I said it in the video yesterday, that this hiring of Richard Sherman. Now, Richard Sherman is still going to be the host of Thursday Night Football on Amazon. If Fox Sports 1 is utilizing Richard Sherman for 50 to 100 shows, that's a solid pickup and a great pickup. Okay, you replace Shannon Sharpe, and now you got a Wheezy, You got Keyshawn Johnson. You got Richard Sherman. And the possibility when basketball season starts, you can get Max Kellerman. Or when a great boxing event happens, you can get Max Kellerman. You can also utilize him to a certain perspective on basketball. You still got the Nick Wright angle. Nick Wright can make an appearance on Undisputed. And you got Jalen Rose just out there. You can utilize Jalen Rose. So it seems like Skip Bayless. It seems like Undisputed is not going to lose its thunder. Okay, and I think these are intriguing, interesting hires, and they're solid to good hires. That's only going to make this show better. It's only going to make it better. It's not going to make it worse. It's going to make it better. Now, let's talk about what I wanted to talk about in the beginning of this live stream. There's a recent article that came out that says that Fox Sports 1, slowly but surely, is getting more viewership on satellite and cable. Now, when you read the article, you start to understand why Fox Sports 1 is getting more starting to get more viewers than ESPN. A lot of people on social media are speculating it's because of the Shannon Sharpe effect. Now more people are switching to Fox Sports 1 because Shannon Sharpe was there. Okay? Fox Sports 1 is a hipper show than ESPN. A lot of people talk their talk. But when you read the article, the reason why they're gaining more subscribers and more viewership is because of everyone is cutting the cord on satellite and cable. Everybody's leaving satellite and cable and going into streaming. And if you look at the article, it clearly explains to you guys that everyone's cutting the cord, and more people, and since more people are doing that, it's affecting ESPN's bottom line. ESPN had 100+ subscribers on their cable and satellite packages. Now it's down to 70 or 72. That number from 100 million subscribers down to I think 70 or 72. And if you look at Fox Sports 1, they're losing subscribers too because of people are cutting the cord. They're getting rid of their satellite TV packages, but it's not that many people that left from that format. So because they didn't have a lot to begin with. So both of them are losing subscribers due to people no longer watching satellite and cable. Everyone's cutting the cord. They're going into these streaming services like Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, YouTube TV, whatever. Everyone's going that route. Hence, why, and it hurt ESPN more because they had more subscribers. It would hurt Fox Sports 1 more if they had more subscribers, but they didn't have a lot of subscribers to begin with, even with satellite and cable. All right, so that's the real reason why people are that were subscribed to ESPN. There are more people subscribed to ESPN that left them than Fox Sports 1. But at the end of the day, both of them are losing subscribers. It's just ESPN is losing them at an alarming rate because they had more subscribers than Fox Sports 1. But a lot of people are speculating Fox Sports 1 is going to overtake ESPN. We'll wait and see. Okay. So yeah, that I feel like these hirings are going to be very beneficial for Fox Sports 1. I think Fox Sports 1 done picked up some solid individuals, And I feel like this is going to work, particularly in football season. Football is more of a popular league than the NBA or Major League Baseball. And all you need is Skip Bayless to say something controversial, or say something say something that people don't like, but they will tune in to hear Skip Bayless' thought, and whoever he's debating is going to have a field day with Skip Bayless. So I think Fox Sports 1 sees that this dynamic works. It's not the fact that Skip Bayless is right all the time. It's the fact that, or Skip Bayless is wrong all the time. It's the fact that when Skip Bayless talks, it resonates to the ratings. Okay, so and like I said, I think Shannon Sharpe is a bigger star than Skip Bayless. He's more popular than Skip Bayless. More of a social media influencer than Skip Bayless. But see, none of that stuff really matters if that doesn't move the needle. If that doesn't move the needle, okay, particularly in satellite and cable or streaming services. Okay, so there you have it, guys. I feel like this is going to be very, very good for Fox Sports 1. This is going to be extremely good for Skip Bayless. And I'm not saying people are going to slowly forget Shannon Sharpe, but what I am saying is a lot of people are going to look at this and say, man, this is a great find for Fox Sports 1. But it is what it is. Alrighty, there we go. So I had some other topics to talk about. I don't know why this topic creeps up every single. It just seems like whenever we have a slow month or a slow week, people start regurgitating the news, the old news of Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan's feud. I don't understand why people are talking about this. Even though Michael Jordan denied he had any say-so as far as Isaiah Thomas being on the original Dream Team, there's a voice recording of him saying, "Look, if he's on the Dream Team, I'm not playing." Now, you can look at this many, many different ways. You could be 1,000% right and say, well, see, Michael Jordan kept that brother off the Dream Team. Or you can look at it as, okay, Michael Jordan flexed his power and got Isaiah Thomas to not be on the Dream Team. You can look at it that way as well. To me, I look at it like this. And you have to look at this story and take yourself back at that particular time. Don't look at it right now, because if you look at it right now, then there's a lot of underlines to this story that says, okay, obviously Jordan disliked Isaiah Thomas. He's envious of Isaiah Thomas. He's afraid or scared of Isaiah Thomas. People like to push these narratives, okay, when they're looking at a story that's 20 years old. But what you actually really need to do is place yourself in that time. I think the powers that be that made that decision looked at it as, yeah, we can look at it as, if Michael Jordan doesn't play on the Dream Team, how popular the Dream Team would be today. Would people still talk about the Dream Team if Michael Jordan wasn't there? You can look at it at that angle. And you can look at it, I look at it as, at that particular time, in that particular moment, I don't think the NBA was transitioning from goon ball, bully ball, beating up people, knocking people out the sky. The NBA was transitioning from that type of play, because even though that play was very successful to the Detroit Pistons, and it was very successful to the Boston Celtics and other teams, trying to beat up on your players, or beat down your players, or be rough on the players, even though that's very beneficial for that particular team and the Detroit Pistons, it wasn't a very good product for the NBA to sell. Because you have to also remember, football does this. So why would people stop watching football and watch basketball for the sole purpose of violence and injury and being rough and tackles and things of that nature? The NBA the NFL was already doing that. And the NBA was saying to themselves, we need to transition to this type of play because it's not very popular to the fans. It also shortened the careers of star players such as Michael Jordan. We need to be more. In order for the NBA to be popular, we have to placate to our stars that are popular. And I think that's the real reason why. I think that's a major factor why Isaiah Thomas wasn't on the Dream Team. Even though Isaiah Thomas, he didn't really need that type of style or that type of play to be successful. Because Isaiah Thomas was extremely talented and extremely gifted. You put Isaiah Thomas on any championship team, and they'll win more titles because of Isaiah Thomas. Okay? But Isaiah Thomas' success, and I remember him saying this on a video, that if he wasn't on the Detroit Pistons, the Detroit Pistons wouldn't win as many titles as they want. Basically saying without him, it wouldn't, those players wouldn't even be successful or get rings or be dominant. Okay, I feel like it's a little bit of both. I feel like, the Detroit Pistons, John Sally, Dennis Rodman, Vinny Microwave Johnson, Chuck Daly. They needed Isaiah Thomas' leadership and his skill set, but Isaiah Thomas needed the tough-mindedness of Chuck Daly and the roughness of the Detroit Pistons to win as many titles as he won. So I feel like it's one. Without the Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas wouldn't be as popular as he is today, and vice versa. But like I said, I always tell people, when you're talking about this particular story, you have to put yourself in. You have to transition yourself in that period and in that time. And I felt like the NBA was moving away from bully ball and beating up on your star players and pulling your, intimidation and all that stuff. And they were looking at the NBA as skillful. It's poetry in motion. Okay, they were looking at it that way. And Isaiah Thomas is the old regime. Michael Jordan is the new regime. how long are you going to uh 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 I messed up here. How long are you going to promote that type of style of play when it's not very beneficial for the league? So you can look at it that way. I mean, you can look at it as many ways as you want to, but I look at it as the NBA. This was a business decision. This was not. This was a business decision. This wasn't. We're doing it because of my. You know, it has something to do with Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Yes, I mean, he said if you guys want me to play, then if you guys want me to play, then the only way I'm going to play if Isaiah Thomas is not on the team. Yeah, you can still look at it that way, but real talk, you should also look at it at the way of look. Then are we gonna Are we gonna still continue to advertise NBA basketball with this old regime? Because they was getting older and that style of play was getting played out, and it was starting to become skillful. It started to become poetry in motion. It started, other attributes played a major factor of a lot of these teams being very successful in the Jordan era. Even though the Jordan era, the Bulls dynasty was the most dominating dynasty than any other era. And a lot of people don't even a lot of people don't even think about that. But think about it for just a quick second. Look at other than Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics, they had a dominant team, and they had a dominant era. Then you talk about the Bird. You talk about the Bird era with the Boston Celtics. Then you talk about Magic Johnson and Showtime, and then now you're talking about the Bulls, Jordan and the Bulls. I felt like Jordan and the Bulls era was the most dominating era than the eras in the past, as well as the eras in the future. Allow your boy to explain. Let me cut the air down just a little bit. Let me explain. Okay, Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics and Wilt Chamberlain, them, when you really look and start peeling away, I look at dominating teams that dominated in the eras by their competition. And let's just face facts and face reality. Other than Wilt Chamberlain, there was really not a lot of teams that was ever going to really compete with Bill Russell in that era. It wasn't even a lot of teams in that at that particular time. I'm not hating on it. I'm just telling you. I mean, that Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics, I give them their props. I give them their respect. But let's just face facts and face reality. It was not that many. It wasn't even that many teams, and the talent was sort of uneven, benefiting the Boston Celtics. Okay. Now let's move a little bit further down and let's talk about the Larry Bird era. Once again, it was teams. There was more teams, but I felt like a lot of the talent, due to the Boston Celtics drafting better, went to the Boston Celtics. Plus the Boston Celtics, the Bird Boston Celtics, The Detroit Pistons was a good adversary against the Boston Celtics. The Showtime Lakers was a good adversary for the Boston Celtics. The Chicago Bulls, when they were young and trying to figure it out, was a good adversary for the Boston Celtics. The Atlanta Hawks made a run with the Boston Celtics, the Bird Boston Celtics, and then you have the other handful of other teams. But the Boston Celtics at a particular time was dominating in that particular era. But the reason why I wouldn't put the Larry Bird Boston Celtic team as the better dominating, the best team that dominated in that era, they pretty much shared that era somewhat to the Showtime Lakers. All right, and they sort of shared that era with the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. There was a lot of competition back then, and there were more teams back then. But when you really think about it, even though the Boston Celtics won a lot of titles, they really didn't dominate that era where, and when I look at dominating, I'm looking at a team that dominates in an era and suffocates their opposition, where you can't even get a title. You can't even win one championship in that particular era. And that's why I focus more on, let's talk about the Chicago Bulls and the Jordan era. I feel like that was a dominant era. It was domination at its finest. Okay, when the Chicago Bulls drafted Michael Jordan, they were in the playoffs, but they couldn't get past those other teams I just mentioned. When they started drafting, and when they got Scottie Pippen from because the Supersonics drafted Scottie Pippen, and they sent Scottie Pippen to the Chicago Bulls. When they got those two, and Scottie Pippen was not the Scottie Pippen that we know of today. He just wasn't that guy. It took a lot of Michael Jordan's will and fortitude, because they said Michael Jordan practices be intense, and he just didn't let you slack in practice. And he picked up, Scottie Pippen's picked up a lot of things from Michael Jordan, but it was also a two-way street, because Michael Jordan started picking up things from Scottie Pippen as far as a team concept. Not to mention the fact that when they hired Phil Jackson incorporated, the triangle and team-oriented type of play. They allowed Michael Jordan to be Michael Jordan. And that's why the triangle is so famous, all right? Because you still allow Michael Jordan to have his moments, but Michael Jordan, when he was at his apex and when he was having those moments, it wasn't, it didn't mean the rest of the team didn't prosper and wasn't successful. When they established the triangle, even though Scottie Pippen says they didn't start winning until he got there, but I think Scottie Pippen is being a little is telling a little lie. And I know Michael Jordan publicly hasn't said it, but if you look at the documentaries are embellishing a little bit, as well as Scottie Pippen. Really, they started being successful and when they started winning was when Phil Jackson incorporated the triangle. And I forgot the old guy's name. He was the originator of the triangle. But that scheme was designed and meant for, we're going to let Michael Jordan be on an island on his own, and we're going to let Michael Jordan do his thing. But Michael Jordan, while he's doing his thing, is not going to stop us from doing our thing. Okay? It was almost like, Michael Jordan wasn't necessarily on the team, but all of Michael Jordan's accomplishments and what made Michael Jordan successful was played a factor on a lot of their winning. But the triangle played a huge factor in the Chicago Bulls dominating, because you put Michael Jordan on an island, particularly on offense, then you got Scottie Pippen that can set it up. Scottie Pippen can bring the ball out. He can set up the offense. If Michael Jordan, if he feels like Michael Jordan's going to have one of those games, he can dish it off to Michael Jordan. But he can also dish it off, down low to whatever center. And they always had a center that could pass extremely well. A lot of people don't give the Chicago Bulls centers, Bill Cartwright, Luke Longley, sometimes Dennis Rodman. A lot of people don't give them their kudos and give them their props. But a lot of Will Purdue, a lot of those centers were above average centers that could pass extremely well. A lot of people don't give them their props and their kudos, and they can extend plays. And that's what the triangle was meant for. So, but back to the Chicago Bulls, when they started winning, the Showtime Lakers, they were getting old, but they couldn't compete with what the Bulls were doing. The Detroit Pistons were getting old, plus they was losing players, but they couldn't compete with the Chicago Bulls, and even the Boston Celtics faded into the distance. So none of those older teams, once the Bulls figured it out and the triangle was introduced and Phil Jackson, they started going on their winning streak, none of those older teams were huge impacts when the Chicago Bulls were dominating. And let's talk about the teams that were in their prime. The Philadelphia 76ers, when they had Charles Barkley, they couldn't do nothing with the Chicago Bulls. The New York Knicks with Patrick Ewing and John Stockton, they couldn't do nothing with the Chicago Bulls. Okay? At one point in time, the Charlotte Hornets with Larry Johnson, they couldn't do nothing with the Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls still dominating. They were dominating every team in the East. And they were dominating teams out west. No one was sniffing a title when the Chicago Bulls made their run. And they were the most, even the Houston Rockets couldn't dominate when the Chicago Bulls were making their run. When the Houston Rockets were winning titles is when Michael Jordan went and retired. And there were issues with upper management with the Chicago Bulls. Scottie Pippen had some mislaps here and there. They were winning games, but ultimately the Houston Rockets won a title. All right, won 2 titles. The Houston Rockets just dismantled the Orlando Magic. Oh, by the way, when Michael Jordan came back, it was at 1 year where he came back halfway into the season, and that was the first time we saw Michael Jordan not go to the promised land, which with the NBA Finals. But when he played a full season, he dominated the Orlando Magic. And remember, the Orlando Magic had Penny Hardaway, Shaquille O'Neal. Orlando Magic stole Horace Grant. They had Nick Anderson, 3D. Okay, they had a great team. Okay? They only beat the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan when Michael Jordan came in halfway into the season. He wasn't even in basketball shape. When Michael Jordan went into the offseason, he went into the lab, got into basketball shape, and guess what happened after that? They won 3 titles. And they just squeezed the competition out of a lot of teams that thought that they was going to win one. They beat, not only they kept the Houston Rockets from winning any more titles, they kept the Phoenix Suns from winning titles. When they had Charles Barkley and Thunder Dan Marley, they stopped the Utah Jazz. When they had Karl Malone and John Stockton, the Lakers were pretty good back then. So when you look at these basketball eras, yes, I give my props to Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics. I give my props to Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics. I give my props and respect to the Showtime Lakers, Irvin Magic Johnson. I give my props to the Houston Rockets when they had Olajuwon. Okay. The Detroit Pistons, I forgot about them. I even give props to the New York Knicks, even though they didn't win anything. They were still a good, successful team. The Miami Heat, when they had Alonzo Mourning. But think about when the Bulls won their first three-peat, Michael Jordan, in order for another team to prosper, Michael Jordan had to retire, and then Michael Jordan came back halfway into the basketball season, wasn't even in basketball shape. You know, he was trying to play baseball. He was trying to fulfill a passion that his father had. And his father tragically died, a murder. And that was sad. And he was going through a lot of stuff. And then the accusations of him of having a gambling debt and things of that nature. But think about it. You have to have all of those circumstances where Michael Jordan had to retire. He came back, played half a season, wasn't in basketball shape, then went into the offseason, got into basketball shape, and won. And then the Bulls ran another three-peat. The Bulls was the most dominating team in NBA. I'm not going to go as far as NBA history, but in that time frame I just labeled out, they were more dominant than any of those teams I just mentioned before and any of the teams after. And when you look at the teams today, and this is why LeBron James, when it's all said and done, LeBron James is going to have more questions than answers. Yes, he's going to make it into the Hall of Fame. Yes, he's going to have more statistics than Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Okay? He may not win a lot of titles, but he's been in a lot of NBA finals. He's going to have all those accolades. Okay? But when people talk about basketball, and when you're done talking about the stars, the players, and you begin to talking about these teams, in the LeBron James era, more teams have eaten off of LeBron James than LeBron James himself. The people seem to forget the San Antonio Spurs running roughshod on LeBron James. Even though LeBron James was young, he just got into the league. Yeah, okay. I give him, okay, I respect that, okay? But, LeBron James didn't get successful until he had to leave Cleveland. And, at that time, LeBron James he was the most popular player. People were saying he was the chosen one, but nobody went to LeBron James. LeBron James had to go to someone. Remember, he took his talent to South Beach. He paired up with D Wade, Chris Bosh, won multiple titles there. Okay, left them, went to Cleveland, won a title with Cleveland. But look what happened during that time. San Antonio Spurs were eating off of LeBron James. The Boston Celtics was eating off of LeBron James, KG, and Paul Pierce and them. The Detroit Pistons were eating off of LeBron James era. The late, great Kobe Bean Bryant won in LeBron James era. The Orlando Magic made it to the NBA Finals in the LeBron James era. Okay? The Miami Heat with Shaquille O'Neal was winning titles before LeBron James even went to Miami. They were eating. All right? I know I'm missing somebody else. You had Rose. He was he got the Chicago Bulls to the promised land. You had the Golden State Warriors that beat LeBron James without the services of Kevin Durant. Now, LeBron James followed it up by beating them the year after. But then guess what Golden State did? They got them a super team, just like LeBron James got him a super team with the Miami Heat. They got Kevin Durant, and they beat LeBron James not once, but twice. So, the Golden State Warriors were eating. Then they ate again without Kevin Durant. So, and if you look at, the Milwaukee Bucks, they ate in the LeBron James era. If you look at the previous teams before the bubble, before the shortened season and COVID, that's the last time LeBron James won a title. And ever since then, someone different has won a title. So you got a lot of teams that are eating in the LeBron James era. How many teams that were eating in the Michael Jordan era? How many teams were eating? Was there a lot of teams eating when the Showtime Lakers were dominating? Was there a lot of teams? There were some teams, but was there a lot of teams? What about the oh God, I don't forgot this man's name. God rest his soul, Jesus. What about Larry Bird and his team? What about the Detroit Pistons? So there, Bill Russell. Well, there are a lot of teams in any of those eras I was mentioning that were just constantly eating. Man, I'm telling you, LeBron James in his era, a lot of players, a lot of teams, a lot of organizations were eating. They were eating full course meals on this man's tab. And no disrespect, I'm a LeBron James fan. I give him his props. I give him his respect where respect is due. But I just feel like people are misguided and people don't really tell the whole story about LeBron James. And when it's all said and done, folks, what this is going to be for LeBron James. It's not going to look good for when LeBron James starts playing and, the barbershop talk starts dying down and they start crowning somebody else that they want to talk about in the barbershop talk. And when people are tired of the individual play and they start talking about teams, they start talking about dominance, they start talking about eras, and that's another thing with LeBron James era. When I mention those other eras, you can imply teams to it. In the LeBron James era, it's LeBron James because LeBron James he's not really cemented to one team. LeBron James had success with the Miami Heat twice. He had success with the Cleveland Cavaliers once. I think that's his most shining achievement than any of the titles. He had success with the Lakers once. But when you start looking at these other teams, people are going to look at People are going to memorize the Golden State Warriors even more than the Los Angeles Lakers when LeBron James was there, or the Cleveland Cavaliers when LeBron James was there. You know? So, yeah, it's just one of those things. So, I give props and give respect where respect is due. I think LeBron James is a phenomenal player. I would not put LeBron James over Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And, Michael Jordan has done something that no one has done even after Michael Jordan stopped playing. Michael Jordan won MVP of the season, won Offensive Player of the Year, won Defensive Player of the Year, uh, won MVP in the finals, and won a championship. There's only 4 people that have done that in NBA history, folks. 4 people have done this in NBA history, and I'm going to list those people: Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan. I'm sorry. I love LeBron James. I love his accomplishments. I love what he's doing for professional basketball. I love his contribute his what he does off the court. The I Promise School. The man says his mind, says his piece about social justice. Him being an entrepreneur in entertainment. I love everything LeBron James is doing. But does that translate into he's a better player than Michael Jordan? No. Does that translate that his teams were better than Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls teams? No. At the end of the day, when he's retired, he's going to have more statistics than Michael Jeffrey Jordan. He's going to make more NBA. He's going to have more NBA appearances than Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But he's not going to win more titles than Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And he's never going to have the dominance Jordan has as an individual. Like I named, when Michael Jordan was at his apex, he was all defensive team. He was all offensive team. He was the MVP of the regular season. He was the MVP of the NBA Finals. And he won a title. All at the same time, all in one year. And that's just something, people don't discuss and talk about it. Because the reason why people don't discuss and talk about it is because it's just unheard of. If you just ask a random Joe off the street, what player had these accomplishments in one year, or is it even possible for one player to have these accomplishments? People are going to say, "No, you can't do that. There's no way in the world you can do that because it's just never been done before." It's only have been done 4 times in the history of the NBA. So yeah. So I'm done. Season 2 is in the books. We are on hiatus. No more live streams for Just My Opinion podcast. I do apologize for the inconvenience. I didn't upload a lot of live streams on Just My Opinion podcast. There's only 21 episodes from season 2. That's far below the episodes I had in season 1. But season 3 of Just My Opinion live streams, we're going to be on hiatus. I won't start season 3 until basketball. I'm a football fan, but I don't really talk too much about football. I'm more on the basketball tip, and we'll start doing live streams there. I'm going to be very consistent on the live streams of just my opinion. But, you know, it is what it is. But, guys, we're on. It's been real. And it's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun. I'll holler at you guys later. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. I will catch you guys as far as live stream goes in basketball season, but check out the videos. I've been uploading videos. I haven't been uploading consistently, but I have been uploading videos. I uploaded a video yesterday. So, guys, I'll see you when I see you in a video format. Deuces.